10 seconds.
Good morning, I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill from the KMET Weather Center. As we move through the Wednesday daytime hours in the Beaumont and the Banning area, there'll be sunny skies. Highs are expected in the middle 60s. For the daytime hours in the IE area, sunny skies. They're in abundance. Highs upper 60s. And for the daytime in the Coachella Valley area, there'll be sunshine through the afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez, and we're glad to have you here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're a first-time listener, let us know as well. We always know that there are things in the world that we got to be careful of, and I will tell you right now, if you or your family ever open the door to somebody who is giving you some good stuff, or you kind of wonder what they're giving, you gotta be careful now because the thievery has gone next level. I'm not sure if you saw what I posted. If you haven't already followed me, follow me at Aaron M. Sanchez on Instagram. And I posted a very interesting thing that's happening, and they're calling it Danger at the Door. They're saying candy crooks, which is really kind of a... I wouldn't even put it that way. I wouldn't put candy crooks, but it kind of alerts people that they're kind of like selling candy door to door. They're basically, how do I say? They kind of put your, let's put it this way. You know, I'm going to bring it up so you guys can see it because I think you need to see it. And those of you on the radio, I know you're listening and you're trying to go, what's he talking about? But it goes really bad when all of a sudden you see what should be a normal thing with people be an abnormal thing when it comes to the door. And I know some people are very like, especially neighborhood watch programs, if there's certain people coming to your door, you usually don't think anything about it. We got Jesse Sanchez over there. Jesse, what's going on?
Good morning. I'm looking at this. What?
You just saw it? Yeah, let me show our friends. This is how you can follow me, all right? Follow me on Instagram. It's very simple, Aaron M. Sanchez. And I like to repost some things that make sense other than my own self. And here you go. So if you click on this one, you'll see what Jesse and I are looking at. And what seems to be just a normal guy in a face mask. And he takes some money. He's getting like the candy to give to her. All of a sudden, 3 men rush with guns into the house, but she has a Ring doorbell that captures the rest. When you see that, and then you see the guy put on a face mask, once he's already sold her the money, they're robbing her on the inside and do whatever they want to on the inside. Maybe it's a guy, maybe it's a girl, but I'm wondering how many times they've done this. This is now a situation that the police are saying, hey, be careful out there. That is worse than brazen. I don't even know the word for that, Jesse.
Yeah, in this day and age, I'm going to say this is borderline suicidal. Mainly because you don't know who's armed these days, but honestly, something like this is horrifying just for the normal person.
They all have guns, too. Everybody has guns all of a sudden. It's like, sorry, go ahead. I'm just
like, I have a machete near my door, so they're gonna have to get through that. But it's just, yeah, it just seems like everything's going crazy, and yeah, I ain't answering the door anymore. I have a camera pointed at the door, so if I don't recognize somebody or they look suspicious, I just tell them to go away.
If this guy came to your door, he looks very unassuming,
right?
And you almost feel like he's not a part of it until he puts his face mask on. And then he's very much a part of it. Selling little candy treats, right? Looking like that guy. Not going to lie, I sometimes, when they are outside on like Target or Walmart, I'm the guy that goes, oh, here's like $1 or $2, right? Because they usually are like, oh, I'm trying to raise money for this or that. But they're, and this is in broad daylight. This isn't at night, Jesse. So I posted that. and I got some comments last night, and I said, "How brazen is this?" And Perceptive by Princess Vachon said, "Wow." Cleanupvictorville.ca said, "Yeah, Black Friday sale, seriously." Petey Pete said, "Awful." Living Life Lopez Mode said, "This is terrible." Sports Massage, which is a dude, he actually has a sports center, which actually he helps with therapy and such. He did the wow emojis, like, what are you going to do? Steph said, exactly. Nico Lowitz, or Nico Laux says, it's crazy out here. She probably lives in the LA area. Adam says, it's cool. Home dogs, come on in. I have a surprise for you and all your friends. Yeah. But it's hard when you get stormed by 3, possibly 4 guys, all with guns. You know what I mean? You have to have. I don't know what happened to this situation. I'm sure we're going to hear more of it in the days ahead. But this is a situation that they're saying, public, be aware. If they're going this level and they're all wearing face masks, so you can't even see who they are on the camera, you can only kind of know they hang out with each other. You probably got to get the first guy, but they all wear face masks in order to hide, I feel. You know what I mean? So this is a problem. What do you want to say about that, Jesse?
Okay, so the initial guy that starts the whole thing selling the candy, he has a face mask on.
Yeah.
He stops and turns and puts on another face mask. Why? Your face is already covered.
Yeah, I know. He went next level. I think because he wanted to go inside. Oh, I think he kind of didn't know what to do because he's ready to leave, and he's like, oh, wait, if I leave, then I'm pretty obvious that I have a face mask on. You know what I mean? But those guys were waiting. I wonder how long they waited until they got the signal, go in when the doors open, right? When the unsuspected, when you're having cash, when you're handing cash, because you see the cash on the bottom left-hand corner, him hand out the cash. This is why I tell my mom, don't answer the door anymore. It's getting to that level where it's just wrong. You never know who's going to storm you like this. If this were my family member, I would be like, you know what? I'm buying a gun and I'm gonna find you all and I'm gonna hurt you really bad because I can almost guarantee you this is a really bad home invasion robbery, and the home invasion robberies are really bad. They'll take anything they want, but sometimes they'll do what they want. And if this is a first time, then I hope it's the last. If this is like a third time or fourth time or a fifth time or a sixth time, then it's something that they need to be caught as soon as possible. This needs to be upped to federal level because these guys, although they look like teenagers, and they're probably like 18, 19, 20, maybe 21. I would say get all their moms in the same room and be like, those are your kids? Seriously? That's wrong. So this is really bad. And how they got those guns, I don't even know. You know?
Well, it's not really that hard to get a gun if you really want one. If you look hard enough, you'll find them. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, it's horrifying. And I'm just like, so are these people just standing around nowhere? Like, I wish that we had more, like, what is it? We're neighborhood watch. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wish that we had something like that and we were more of a community rather than everyone just stick to themselves.
And that's going to have to be the situation. I mean, it looks like a nice neighborhood. So I don't know which neighborhood they put this in. I really don't. But if you want to go find ABC7LA, there are friends over there, and they posted about it. You'll find the information there. I'll try to get some more information on this because it really is a case of where you have to watch your back. I told you this before, and I'll say it again. You have to watch it because these things are happening. All right, in other news, there are other things going on, and we got social media chat room kicking it up over there. We appreciate you. However you're following us, we're on YouTube, Periscope TV, which is on Twitter, and LinkedIn, also Facebook Live. We got Rosalie tuning in, Stephanie Reed says, hello, happy editing and writing commercial scripts for this glorious sunshine, cold, awesomeness, busy day ahead today. I love that you're writing scripts. I've recently said to my mom several scripts that I'm writing as well. And there's a really cool trick to get your book written. Do you want to hear about it, Jesse? And I know a lot of you people out there are the ones who have ideas, but you never put them down because A, you don't have the time, B, you don't know what to do with it, and C, you don't know if anybody's going to read it at the end, right? Because I know you and I have talked about like a story that was in your head, right, Jesse?
Oh yeah, I always get some weird things in my head. I can never finish them, but I always just tend to write them down, and I always look at them later.
So here's what I do now. I download this app. It's a really good app. Okay, it's called Voice Recorder, and it looks like a tape deck. Remember, like the scene from Volume 2 or Volume 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy, the little tape deck machine.
Okay, okay.
It looks like an old. The way they do the app, it looks very like you hit record, the record button. Remember when we used to have to hit record or play at the same time, and then it would record. It like old school stuff, right? That's the way it looks, but it has really good recording on the device. Then it has a transcribe feature. Now I will say this: it's only 30 minutes that it will transcribe. But my workaround is this: once you share it, you click on the share button, and then you share it as an MP4. Upload that to YouTube. Get it on YouTube, and then YouTube does a transcription for you. You can do it private. And then once you get the transcription for it, you just download that, and it's done in Word form, and you just put that over into what you need, and there you go. That's the way you can get easy transcription services for nothing. How cool is that?
That's actually really useful.
Yeah, so if you have an idea and you don't have like a device next to you, or maybe you like to like think really quick and you have like this story in your head and you just want to say it, just learn to like say it with your words, record it, and then transcribe it, and you have your book right there. It's the simplest thing. Because some people don't get a chance to be in front of a computer and go like, okay, I'm going to write the words. They get like 5 words or 8 words, but they really speak it better rather than write it, you know? And so it's a quick way to get some interesting stories. I know I've had some stories for a while, and then some just came to me, and I go, all right, well, what's the quickest way to do it? Because I don't have a lot of time, and that's the quickest way to do it. So if you are a professional or you have somebody that you know, do it that way. Some professionals will tell you that's how they actually do their books, and or how they're authors of a lot of books. Some just get to the typewriter, and they just know that, and they do that a lot. But even if you're not that good, you can always get with a writer. They call them ghostwriters. And you get with the writer and you enhance the story that you already have. That way you don't have to worry about all the dialogue. But if you have like the overall theme and you know where it's going to go, you can get with a good writer, and then, you know, maybe have a little bit of money on the side, and then they are your ghostwriter. And a lot of authors do that. People don't understand how many authors do that, but a lot do. So it's a way to get your own story published, and or your whatever you have. I'm working on 3 children's stories now, because I found that, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get these out right now. So they'll be out probably the next few months. So I just have to find a good artist. But I think I'm gonna offer it at first just in written form, and then I'll go with the maybe with a artist at some point, because there's a lot of artists out there. And you know how I find those, Jesse?
No.
Instagram.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I just put in like art, or I put in like concept artists, or storyboard artists, or storybook. There's a lot of people out there that will do commission, and then some are just doing for fun, and you're like, hey, I have this idea, here you go. Or some just do like an interesting drawing, and you're like, I could come up with a story based on that one drawing. I'm that guy. And I think you can too, technically, Jesse. So I really want to see your story in the next few months. I said this, I remember I did, and then you said nothing, and then I think it's still there, and I think you got stories for days, because we all know Jesse has a brilliant mind, huh?
Yes, it's just so tangled up in so many things. I sometimes I'll just stare at the wall, and Casey, my fiance, will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing," but I live in my own little mind.
I get it. Let's see. Rosalie says, ooh, I need that app. Yes, it's a way to get it. Leland White, OTR, is watching. Thank you. Stephanie says, there is a free book publishing called Tableau Publishing. I published my first book based off my career success with them. And there are ways to go about it yourself. And then there are ways to get some pretty good middle to upper type publishing places. I know we know a few publishers in that way because we've had them on our show. And then there's the big dogs, which, you know, usually you want to have at least 1, 2, or 3 kind of already sold. Then you can go to that level. It's very hard for somebody brand new to go really big. And I know that some people kind of stop in that way. They kind of go, well, how am I going to get published? But nowadays, it's not that hard to get a minimum order ahead of time. And the way you do that is you just get your book written, right? I've had several friends do it this way. I go, oh, wow, that's really cool. And they go to Amazon, and they go to create space, I think it is. You could actually also do DVDs like that and or movies, and you do your own publishing on Amazon. Then you sell it for the cost that it is, plus a little bit more on top of it, and then it will pay for itself because it's per order you could do, or you could do in bulk. Some people do in bulk in order to reduce the overall price, but I would say have a lot of like potential customers for that, because if you kind of do it slow go, you want kind of at least good ratings and reviews. So my tip on that is give 100 away, not in book form though, in manuscript form. Just get it published first, and then have the reviews come in from those. Say, hey, I'm going to give this to you for free, but I really want your opinion. Read it to your family member and or your child if it's a child's book, and then see the feedback. You may change it in the middle, right? And if it's a good children's book and you get submissions from the kids of the families, then maybe you could use that as, you know, another. Then you have like, that's first edition, right? The edition, whatever. And then you have the next edition, which comes out a little bit more info, and then you get that one published using Amazon. You sell maybe, I don't know, off of that first 100, you just say, hey, can you guys put your information on Amazon so that when it's reviewed, it looks like a really good reviewed copy. There's places that do that, but they do a lot of fake reviews for you. But if you get real good reviews, and of those 100, you say, hey, do you mind? You probably get like maybe 8 or 12, maybe 13 at the most, because people are busy. And then that's all you need. They do a 5-star review, right? Because you already kind of gave it to them for free, but they already read it. They know they like it. And then they could be some of your first subscribers, because you're like, oh, here's the one with pictures now for your kids. And then you autograph it for free. You don't charge them for it. And then you'll probably get like another 8 to 12 reviews on your book. If you have that on Amazon, then you become kind of a top tier new book. And if you do that in the first 3 weeks, you can get your own published book. And that way, then you go for radio interviews. Then you get, you know, maybe in some reading programs, right? Maybe submit it to Reading Rainbow or other places like that, you know? And then you could do that for a child's book. So there's a lot of ways to do it now that if you just say, look, I don't need to wait for a publisher is good if you want some money on the forefront, but sometimes they take a big percentage of the pie. If you can do the numbers, you can actually make some pretty good money doing it on your own. It just takes a little more time, a little more effort, and a lot more legwork. So I say this, do this on your first 3 published items, whether they be like a book on how to. I've got one already in the can on that to do. But, you know, and even if you want to use a pseudonym, you could use a pseudonym and still reap the rewards if you don't want your information out there on some, you know, stuff. But try it out and get writing with just speaking it. But again, the app is called, if you want to know it, it's called Voice Recorder. It looks like a little tape deck, and it records on the fly. I honestly record all my ideas on it, and then it transcribes it for me. So, and then like I say, you push the share button on the top right. You are able to download as an MP3 or MP4. It converts it to a video form, and then you upload it using the YouTube app to your own private thing. I put it on private because I don't want it public, obviously. And then you have it transcribe it. You just download the transcript, and you got it already there for you. And it's more good than not. YouTube's translation services are really good, by the way. Facebook has it as well, but then that means it has to be public, and I don't want that stuff public. So I put it on YouTube because you could designate that it be private. And then just delete it after. So, you know, no one, you know, here's your hard copy. But you might be surprised how much info you can get out that way without having somebody at your side saying, okay, what did you say? What did you say? What did you say? Because not everybody is a fast typist and or transcriber, right? So that's a quick little lesson around the corner for those of you that have an idea for a book. And I know I've heard a lot of you guys say, I have an idea for a book. And you go, you go like I do. Well, I don't have the time. You want to do it one day. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to do everything I need to do. I had a conversation yesterday with someone who said, why are you doing all this? I said, well, basically, I almost was left for dead a couple times. I'm kind of like over it. I'm just going to do everything I've ever wanted to do or I've said I would do. I'm trying to do it really quick and fast. That way it's there. If I ever die, I left something behind. You know what I mean? That's how I am. So that's how I feel. And besides, the world's going crazy. Right, Jesse?
Yeah, unfortunately, it kind of feels like it is, right? Like something across on the other side of the globe is affecting us so harshly.
Yeah, speaking of Ukraine, coronavirus, and financials, we're going to talk about that all next here on The Morning Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Health truly is the greatest gift. At U-Theory, quality of life is at the heart of every product we make. From farm to shelf, we travel the world to source the purest, most efficacious, and clinically studied ingredients to create science-backed supplements that support beauty, emotional, digestive, and physical well-being. All U-Theory products are manufactured at our Southern California facility, ensuring the highest quality standards every step of the way. As a family-owned company, we celebrate the power of human potential with a mission to inspire wellness in all. Try U-Theory Immune Plus Daily Wellness. 100% daily values of vitamin C, D3, and zinc. Go beyond the you of today and catch the you of tomorrow. U-Theory.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state? Did you miss sending out a prior year tax return? The IRS is out to collect now more than ever, and they'll use any means necessary. They legally can and will garnish your wages, take your money, and even seize your property. If you're behind on your taxes, call the tax relief hotline right now at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000. You can legally get your tax debt under control, and in many cases, get the breathing room you need. Garnished wages, property seizures, bank levies can stop immediately, but you have to call. Many of our specialists are IRS enrolled agents. They know the system and how to make it work for you. Don't wait for the IRS to come down on you. Act now so you can get your tax debt under control. Call the Riverside office today for free info at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000.
Mattress Brothers Overstock Mattress Sale. Just $3.99 for a foam encased queen pillow top set. $3.99. Check out Mattress Brothers $3.99 Overstock Sale. Mattress Brothers at 120 West Redlands Boulevard in Redlands. The $3.99 Overstock Sale is on now. $3.99 for a foam encased queen pillow top set. Mattress Brothers also has locations in Hemet, Riverside, and Palm Desert. The $3.99 queen pillow top sale on now.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff and spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
Welcome back to the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. So this is the latest. Over 2.15 million refugees have fled Ukraine. I told you it was going to be really big and heavy. I know when I saw the million, I said, wait a minute, because I think the last estimates were about 3 million children were suffering in the Ukraine area. So we understand why these numbers are huge. And when you put that into perspective, just 1 million refugees. Now you got 2 million refugees. I see 3 and 4 and 5 coming up in the next few weeks. My only question for Poland and surrounding areas is, are you ready? That is an influx of a lot of people which have very little to no cash. And if they do, they're going to have to stay with friends, family, and others. You're going to have to open up your arms quite willingly and say, hey, we're going to help each other out. How many jobs are there in Poland for these women and men and children to actually obtain? I don't know. I do not know where they're going with that, except they need their land back of Ukraine. But with Russia doing what they're doing right now, it's really bad. We got Jesse Sanchez over there. I know you've been watching the situation. What's going on?
Yeah, man, I just heard McDonald's set up a no-fry zone over there in Russia.
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah, they did. They totally shut it down in Russia. I mean, that's next level. Like, whoa. I will say I feel bad for the workers. I feel bad for the employees. I feel bad for the people that need to work. I'm not happy with that situation. It's a no-win situation for the people. Again, the people need to press down on government to say, no, we do not like this. Now we get why McDonald's is doing this, huh?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's just as exciting. No, I'm not even gonna say exciting. It's just it sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
because the people are getting penalized because of what some madman is doing in the government. Which
There you
is-
go. Yeah.
And it's like they have no power. They can't do
No.
anything. And if they say stop it, they'll probably get pulled out in the street and shot. So
Yep. Yeah. You're right. 100%. It's like the journalists. The journalists are all being locked up as we speak. You cannot speak against Russia right now at all. You cannot even give real news. You know what they're calling it, by the way? They took Trump's fake news mentality and they said it's fake news what people are reporting about Ukraine and the rest of the world. That's what they say over there in Russia. Isn't that weird?
it really is, and it's sad that they don't have access to more than just that information that they're being given by their government. Because let's be real, all governments don't tell the truth. Not
Well,
even
that's why people don't understand. But if you go back to the days of the maybe early 1900s, 1910, 1920s, I say 1908, 1910, 1912, you wanted independent publishers to report truth. Yeah? And they did really good until probably the 90s, when then some reporting agencies were kind of seen to kind of fabricate more stories that were just kind of more sensationalized, right? Very skewed, yeah? But that is where independent reporting is so important. That's why news agencies like the New York Times and other agencies like that are really good about just saying, look, we're not going to go with what people tell us to go with. We're going to go with the real stuff, right? And that's why some people, when they see reporters on the side or they see them as anchors, but it's usually the reporting that's done. And then the hard-hitting news people are the ones that write these stories, write these articles, but they need to be backed by a news agency that says, hey, we will back you 100%, right? Because when you say certain things that are truths about certain things, you get kind of sometimes sued, right? Especially if it is. That's why you got to make sure your witnesses are A, always protected, and B, always credible. That way you don't get wrong information. You don't publish wrong information. So they hold themselves to a higher level, and that's what you appreciate when it comes to real news agencies that do the heavy lifting, right? That's how we got to that smoking was bad, right? They call it a whistleblower situation, but a lot of information came out about that. Even the Snowden case, love him or hate him, which I'm not going to say hate him, because at the end of the day, he proved a lot of our surveillance equipment is sometimes thrown in the wrong hands. Now we know Russia, China, and other areas hack our devices, hack our financial institutions, hack, and they could actually get into your camera system and also hack you as well. So it's good that Snowden did what he did when he did it, but I feel some people are just unaware of what happens when cases like this come out, and certain news agencies have to report it, but they have to be on the right side so that if they ever get sued, they can say, no, we have the real information, here it is. But that's where Russia is kind of falling in the hands of how many agencies got kind of turned against when it came to fake news. But now we're all the fake news, and they're the right news. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah,
We're
it's called
fake news.
skewed news.
Yep.
So don't be a part of skewed news. Be a part of real news, all right? This is what's been happening as of 3 hours ago. Russia responds to Poland offering fighter jets to help Ukraine. They also warned, the Ukraine warns of radiation risk after power cut at Russia-occupied Chernobyl plant. That's not good. You do not cut off power to a plant, all right? They still have working plants there. One did explode. The other ones are still needing electricity to keep them from meltdown, all right? So they're warning of all this. The U.S. is sending 2 Patriot anti-missile batteries to Poland. Russia is claiming their aerospace forces destroyed 89 combat planes, 57 helicopters in Ukraine. Again, we're at war right now. This is the thing that everybody needs to understand. This is where we're at. Back to the U.S. They said that they're sending 2 Patriot anti-missile batteries stationed in Europe to Poland as a defensive deployment at the request of the Polish government. Now, again, they're doing defense. They're not doing offense at all. The only offense that they're doing, that they say that they're doing, is saying, look, we're pulling back on monies to the Russian people, really, and or to certain czars or certain very financially wealthy people, which they've never, really looked at before, and they've done it in this way. And I think that's a good thing, 100%. You got to pull the support financially from the big guys, the guys that would support them, known as kind of the, whenever somebody gets into office, they usually take a lot of money from certain corporations and or agencies or people.
Okay.
Russia does too. So there's a reason that, Putin is where he's at, because, again, he skews in the direction of these very financially wealthy billionaires. I would say even a trillionaire is in there. So when the U.S. did that, that was probably one of the smartest moves. Okay, you get to the monies and you say, hey, you're no longer allowed that. Okay, now there's always ways around it, meaning that these czars or very financially wealthy people just say, okay, fine, then I move the money over to this place. But a lot of them have offshore accounts. That's why they have offshore accounts, in order to hide it from the government and or any political entities in order to do that. So they're not going to hurt for long. They're just going to say, hey, where's my money? And they're hoping that they'll put that on Russia. Will they? I don't know. But here's the situation as we see it. The U.S. said they're sending these Patriot anti-missile batteries at the direction of the Secretary of Defense and at the invitation of our Polish allies. General Walters, commander of U.S. European Command, has directed U.S. Army Europe and Africa to reposition, so these are already there, 2 Patriot batteries to Poland. According to spokesman Captain Adam Miller, this defensive deployment is being conducted proactively to counter any potential threat to U.S. and allied forces and NATO territory. This is a prudent forest protection measure that underpins our commitment to Article 5 and will in no way support any offensive operations. You see, they're not doing offensive anything right now, which I feel for the people of Ukraine and the people that have been saying, what are we doing about it? That's the problem of the day. You can't say we support from afar, but we're not going to do anything to help you. We used to be a country that actually helped people in need. How far does it have to go before we actually do that for the people of Ukraine? You understand? That's where I'm against it. I'm not happy with that. And there's a problem with that mentality, because at the end of the day, you're only going to, look bad, not just to your own people, because everybody's saying, wait, what are we doing about this? And that's why other people are complaining, saying, yeah, we know you're powerful, but can you help us out? And these people are dying, and they're hurting in Ukraine, which Russia views as their own area. It's not. It never has been. They've been independent of Russia. That's why they want to be a part of the European Union. But even European Union is like taking a back seat, and they need to take a forward seat. The move came hours after the U.S. dismissed Poland's offer to transfer all of its MiG-26 fighter jets to a U.S. airbase in Germany to boost Ukraine's fight against Russia, with Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby saying in a statement Tuesday, which was yesterday, that we do not believe Poland's proposal is a tenable one. In other words, they don't agree with Poland doing what they're asking for, saying, look, we just need more support. Even Poland's going, which I said this. I said Poland's next. If you look at the map, they're just to the west of Ukraine. When Russia invades Ukraine 100%, Poland is next on that list, which I say is why Ukrainians have to go to Poland, get ready there, bring in the support, at least from France. They're in it. Australia, they're going to be in it 100%. And other countries of the European Union. NATO so far has proven weak. I have not seen anything of NATO doing anything at all, which some say it was because of NATO kind of having certain alliances in the areas around Russia. But at the end of the day, Russia's kind of proving NATO to be kind of ineffectual. Because if you can't keep people in your area safe, what good are you? That's the way I view it.
No, that is true. I think a tons of people are like, how come we aren't helping? How come others aren't helping? it's mainly because he has nukes. It's the only reason.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we all have nukes. Everybody has nukes. That isn't what kept U.S. from bombing Japan when they, as many would say, had to. I would say there was always another option, but at the time of it, it's like he said, she said. It's neither here nor there. It was done. It stopped the war. It did what it did, right? Now we have the situation which is currently being looked at and really needs to be kind of seen as a situation where are they being responsible? If you were even on the whole point of, okay, everybody has their own war, everybody takes over other territory, that is what happens ever since forever, right? You would say, are they dumb, though, about it? And I would say yes. Ukraine warned Wednesday electricity has been entirely cut to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and radioactive substance could be released because the storage facility cannot cool spent nuclear fuel. I told you, they still had them hooked up. The Chernobyl exclusion zone, a 1,000 square mile restricted area of deserted land surrounding the plant, was seized by Russian forces hours after they launched their invasion on February 24th. What have they done with it? Nothing. The plant, situated between the Belarus-Ukraine border and the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, is the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster since 1986. And there's actually an HBO movie on it that came out in 2019, Jesse. We should watch it.
I actually seen the first part of it. It was actually really good.
Yeah, it's all based on real stuff. Ukraine State Service of Special Communications and Information Protection announced via Twitter on Wednesday that the Kyiv high voltage line is currently disconnected due to the damage caused by the occupiers. The agency tweeted, as a result, the Chernobyl station and all nuclear facilities in the exclusion zone are without electricity. So they're saying, look, guys, this is going to create a problem for all of us. And look, let's put it this way. We know fallout is always real when you have a nuclear bomb. Yeah, Jesse?
Oh, yes. That's probably that's the second worst fear after the initial bright flash and boom.
Yeah, so now I would say this to the people of Ukraine and Russia and surrounding areas, get ready for radiation to permeate you. I recently bought iodine pills, actually iodine liquid, they come in pill form too, for my mom and I, right? Because you never know when they're going to go next level. Some would say, are we there yet? I say, yes, we're there. Okay, I bought them last week. I have a solar radio coming on the way. The reason I say this is when any area leaks out radiation, there's a problem with that. And this isn't like little, you go get an x-ray machine and you get a little on you. They put a lead thing on you in order to have limited radiation exposure. This is called unfiltered radiation, okay? When you think of a power plant, you need to think uranium. When you think uranium, and you think, oh, it's leaking out in mass quantities because it basically has no way to cool itself, this is a problem for the people surrounding it. Now, when it gets up and out, which it will, worst case scenario, it blows up because it is a nuclear device called a nuclear power plant. Nuclear, when it becomes too hot and too unfiltered, it will leak, it will explode, and it will create massive devastation for at least a good 80 miles minimum. Then you have the fallout of wind. Usually within the first 30 hours to 48 hours, that is the most toxic amount because it's all spread out, right? Now, rain can help it ease its path, but if there is no rain, it's going to get up into the clouds and be part of the rain droplets within about 3 to 4 hours of an explosion. When that happens, you want to know if you're to the east, to the west, to the south, or to the north, and you want to know where the wind pattern is coming. And if you're in the area of a good, I'd say anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 miles away from the epicenter of it, you're going to want iodine pills or something to not allow that radiation to become part of you. Because guaranteed, if one of these explode, and it looks like they will, you're probably going to have radiation in your system. And depending on the type of mutation in your body, you'll probably have a problem within the first 3 or 4 months, and you possibly be dead within the next 3 to 4 years. That is the science of it, people. And I know people are going, well, how do you know that? I speak to very, very intelligent people, which are scientists. Some are known in government as, people that keep us safe. But these are the ones that know this is a really big problem. And for the U.S. to take a backwards stance on this is the dumbest thing since sliced bread. What are they going to do with other power plants if they're this irresponsible? Because I see Russia as being irresponsible. They're not responsible anymore. They're not responsible. And that's just one nuclear power plant they were took over. Remember the other one that they were bombing and we reported on last week? That one's a situation. But if you create no more electricity for the area, you're going to have a huge blowout. So there you go.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of miss the days when all the soldiers would line up face to face and just go at it, leave the citizens alone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not gonna lie. That's it. It's just easier the moment like modern warfare came in. We're all doing the guerrilla fighting. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, when you have radiation come out in huge quantities, this is going to be a problem. Some 20,000 spent nuclear fuel assemblies are stored in a Chernobyl storage facility and need constant cooling, which is only possible if there is electricity, according to Ukraine's State Service of Special Communication and Information Protection. I recently showed my mom how they cooled the rods, and she saw the science of it, and it's cooling technology because they're so hot. Imagine 2,000 degrees to 3,000 degrees. That's how hot they get. That's how much you have to cool them down by. So you have to have a constant supply of coolant on these rods in order to cool them down. And people ask, well, why are they so volatile? But watch Chernobyl on HBO. I think those of you that have HBO, it'll educate you of where we're at in the stream of time of how close this is. You don't even have nuclear bombs go off. You have nuclear power plants go off, which is why I say we need to find out a better way to compensate for them. We need to A, shut them down effectively, B, get them on the side because they're starting to be a target of other places. There was a recent other blast, I believe, with a nuclear power plant in another land. And I'm like, are terrorists starting to go after it again? Because we have several here in the U.S. People don't like to understand it, but Stephanie understands it. She knows they have one in their area. But I would say she's so far inland, she's not on the coast because coastal areas usually are hit before inland areas are. Does that make sense? Because you have to go through the sides of the U.S. to get to the inland. So if you had to go anywhere, I would go inland, away from volcano eruptions, which Yellowstone is starting to look a little bit more active, Jesse. So we got all that and more. What do we do, Jesse?
Just enjoy your time on this planet. That's all you can do.
That's what I say. Enjoy the people you meet from day to day. Go and have fun. Have a meal with a trusted friend or just enjoy what we have every single day. And let's hope we speak knowledge into people, not dumbness. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to speak about a little dumbness that's happening in Florida. And boy, are they dumb. I know it's not going to be a popular thing that I'm saying, but it will be in a moment. When you make sense of it, we'll be right back right after these messages.
Staff and families at Custom Care Solutions caregivers take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
World-renowned psychologist, relationship expert, and best-selling author Dr. Carmen Hara hosts Live Now,
every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on Smart Talk Radio. Dr. Hara offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Experience your own positive transformation as Dr. Hara personally guides you to the answers that you have been seeking. Live now with Dr. Carmen Hara, every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Time on KMET Radio, podcast by SoundCloud.
Your pharmacy and mobility solutions is now Beaumont Pharmacy with a new location at the Sundance Corporate Center. That's at the corner of Highland Springs and 8th in Suite 110. Of course, they still have Pack Your Meds. No more counting out the pills, dropping them on the floor. Oh, what a mess. And they have a full selection of pharmaceutical CBD. Wheelchairs, over-the-counter meds, you name it, they've got it. So if you're looking for the best and you want the best pharmacy, you go to Beaumont Pharmacy at their new location, 835 North Highland Springs, Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, Suite 110. Give them a call, 951-845-8252. Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Mark Blevins tuning in. I love his statement right now. He says, speak knowledge into people, not dumbness. That's what I say. Go for the smart thing. Because if you're the dumb thing, you're going to hurt every one of us. You're going to kill us all. And you're never going to heal us ever. And that's the problem. If you do that, that's a problem for everyone. Florida Surgeon General, Dr. Joseph Ladapo, sparked controversy this week by recommending against COVID-19 vaccination for healthy children, contrary to the advice of health organizations and plenty of data that suggests the shots are safe and effective. Florida is going to be the first state to officially recommend against the COVID-19 vaccinations for healthy children. So I know people are going, well, what is there about that? Is it a thing? Is it a good thing to do? Is it a good thing to think? Is it a good thing ever? And I would say the answer is no. But I know we're going to be alone on this in a way with some people. But let me preface it by saying this. I'm the first one who has said on this show that the CDC is dumb sometimes. Right, Jesse? I mean, how many times have I said that?
God, I can't even count more than fingers on my hand.
Yeah, more like 6 times, right? I've said that, right? I say, sometimes they say the right thing, and then sometimes they say the wrong thing, and then sometimes they do more financials than anything. The dumbest thing that they did recently was have the 14 down to 5. That made no sense in my head because coronavirus lasts a minimum of 8 to 16 days. Okay, so you need to be away from other people that you could get sick or potentially dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you know that if your employer needs you, it tends to lessen the effects of coronavirus? So you don't need to stay.
Right, because they have the magic cure in their hands called money. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, which, by the way, don't forget, at least here in California, I'm not sure how other states are, California has the ability to pay off your employer for the 14 days. You just have to prove you have coronavirus. You get the test, you'll be fine, and then they get the monies back. But you have to be in a small business of, I think, 23 to 24, 25 minimum employees for them to make the money back. So it basically pays for your ability to basically have at home. I don't know that pays you, but it's kind of called like COVID relief plan. Does that make sense?
Does it count if an employee has a multiple personalities? I can come up with 25 or 26, so it's all good.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, right? Yeah, no, Jesse, it's one Social Security per employer. So yeah, sorry, federal wants their money. Official guidance released softened that stance somewhat, saying that healthy children aged 5 to 17 may not benefit from receiving the currently available COVID vaccine due to their low risk of severe disease and the possibility of rare side effects. Parents of kids with underlying medical conditions should consult their pediatricians, the guidance says. While the guidance does not prevent parents in Florida from vaccinating their children if they wish, some doctors fear it still will have a chilling effect on pediatric vaccine campaign that they've already been trying to get people ahead of it. Now, I will say this. There's been some dumb news lately, and I spoke about it to Jesse the other day. I spoke about it to my mom, and I spoke about it to a few people, but here it is, all right? How long has been here?
I lost track of time. I want to say at least 3 months.
Yeah, okay, November, right? That's when it was starting to become full circle, yeah? Has been in other countries more than that. I would say probably 6 to 8 months, right? But it became very prevalent here when all of a sudden they started saying it was Omni at first, and then somebody changed it and they said it's Omni whatever. But my point is this. Has been here since November, yeah? The last vaccine that we got was issued when?
I want to say 3 months before that.
Yeah, I would say August, September, October. Yeah? Okay, because I know I got it like around that time. I just call it the fall edition. Yeah? The fall edition did not have the ability to fight because was too new. Yeah? We all agree on that?
Yes, yes.
Here's the reason I say this. The latest study, whoever concocted it in December, said that the vaccine was not effective against those kids that had which I say, yeah, no, duh. The vaccine that came out in fall was produced in probably February, March, and April when they were already investigating Alpha, Beta, Delta, and several other variants. So it was good against those. There was no vaccine good against The only vaccine that's good against has already been actually distributed in Israel and probably other areas where Pfizer started it, I think in December. Okay, that was in Israel. They got what they're calling their fourth dosage. All right. Here we have Pfizer, we have Johnson & Johnson, and we have Moderna. Yeah? So the next one that we have coming out, if you want to test that one for its efficacy and for its effectiveness, you need to test that once it's administered and it's made public to the public. That one is the one we're waiting on, which I will call the spring edition of 2022. That one is not here yet. So Floridians and others that are going through this like research, you're kind of forgetting the timetable of variants. There is no way that the vaccine was good against The problem with people's minds is that the vaccine will build an antibody resistance against any coronavirus. The answer is no. You have to treat each coronavirus separately from one to the next to the next. If you have hepatitis A and then you have hepatitis C, which one is worse, Jesse?
I honestly have no idea because I don't know what I know what hepatitis is. I know the name, but I don't know the differences between A. I'm assuming there's a B since you said there's an A and C.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, God. I have no idea.
Okay. If you have hepatitis A and you have a vaccine for it, good. You're good. If you have hepatitis C and you have no vaccine for it, basically the one you don't have vaccine for is the bad one. But they're both bad, but they're both different. They both operate differently.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
It's all right. You can do the research, but we've run out of time. But my point is this. Remember, they're different. Just because they're called coronavirus, they're not the same. That's why some are resistant. That's why there's certain symptoms that are completely different with each new variant, which is why I say if you have coronavirus, find out which variant you have, all right? That's all I'm saying about that. I'm going to stay on. Make sure to follow me, Aaron M. Sanchez, official Aaron M. Sanchez on Facebook. Jesse's got to go. The radio station's got to go, but they'll still be there. Download the app. It's free. KMET, 1490 AM. All right, for the rest of you here, I'm just going to open up my good can of Dr. Pepper, my little thing in the morning. It's my little go-to. It's got the duck in it. He makes more sense than current news headlines, seriously. There's some things happening that I say, put your perspective on and get ready for the ride, right? Big shout out to those tuning in. Mark tuning in. Yes, we appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. So I got the good morning with a little cup of coffee. Stephanie Reed says they are. Let's see. They are holding the media hostages over there in Russia. According from Committed to Protect Journalists of CPJ.org. Yes, and that's a problem. That's a problem because you control the airwaves, you control the news headlines, you control everything with a I'm just going to say this. It's an authoritarian state now, 100%. It always has been. It just has been perceived more as free than not. But I think it started with, honestly, when they started to put a kind of a, I don't know how to say it, but they kind of went at the religions there. And if you had a Bible or you're preaching the Bible and you don't do it a certain way, you're locked up. People didn't believe it. We reported on it. And it's a real thing. So when you kind of see that happen, then you see war happen, and then you see this happen, you go, all right, I get it. You were down a very slippery slope, right? So there you go. All right, now, having said that, back to the news. If you remember, again, coronavirus is different in every capacity that they have. I know they all sound the same, but that's why they put them a different origin as well and different mutated versions of it. All right, I put it this way. It's a very simple way. If you have a heart problem and you have different types of things against you, right? You have a history of thyroid disease. You have a history of diabetes. You have a history of hepatitis. All those things affect your heart at some point. Which one's going to affect your heart is the real question of the day. So you want to get to the doctor and take a panel of what your blood type is, what it is that is in your system, so that you can help it along. Yeah? Then there's certain medication that is good. There's certain medication that is newish, but they all have side effects listed. Yeah? There is no such thing as no side effects. All right, that's number one. Number two, I've seen people get certain things in their body due to certain medications that are out for them that they develop later on in life. And usually those are the ones where attorneys are getting that information out there because they want to know who else is suffering. That way they could do a class action suit. Yeah. Those are good moments of information for people to say, oh, I had that medication. Now I have this disease. You mean one's related to the other? And in many ways they are, which is why when there's a class action suit, if you took one and you want to be aware of it, you want to put your name in there just because, right? They usually don't find these things out until about 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 years later. Yeah. Now, do vaccines have that as well? I've always said it. The answer is yes. It's anything that comes out at any given time is going to have in a population a certain amount of problems later. Now, I've said it before. You got to be your own advocate. You got to do your own research. I myself, based on the information that I saw, I was not okay. I was not great with Pfizer and Moderna at the beginning. So I told my mom, I've done the research. Johnson & Johnson is the one that we're going to get you. She had it in spring of 2021. She was fine. She was good. She was great. She had no ill side effects. She had nothing in her body that went against her. All right. In fall of 2021, she got her second one, again from Johnson & Johnson. Now, that one is good against Delta. I did the research on that, and I said, all right, you're good for that. My sister didn't get it until recently because they delayed getting it to her, and I'm like, you're overdue. And my sister got it already twice, coronavirus I'm speaking of, all right? But she lived to tell the tale. But she almost died the very first time that she got it in February of 2020, all right? Now, I'm all for being an advocate of your loved ones because you have to do the research. The Florida state is doing a disservice to the people and more or less the children. Here's why I say that. Florida is always, I'm just going to say it, of a mentality of we know what we're doing until we do not know what we're doing. Yeah? There's a problem with that because you're putting people's families on the line. When you put people's families on the line and they listen to you because they think you know things, you have a problem going next level. And here's what it is. We're already reaching 1 million dead due to coronavirus. That's not even talking about the ones that are healing from coronavirus. And some of your friends and family members are having to deal with the repercussions of getting coronavirus to begin with, especially if they have heart disease. All right. I remember when coronavirus was coming out, and maybe you do too, they were saying people at a certain age were already going to have problems, but it was over a certain age. They were targeting all people like 50 and above. I think it was like 55 and above or something like that. which I was like, okay, I need to take care of my mom. But I knew, just as we all know, coronavirus can hit any biology. But why does it attack the very, well, that's the question of the day. Those that have a pre-existing condition, it worsens the pre-existing condition and makes worse their existing condition. I've seen that recently with with one that we buried, unfortunately. Although, yeah, she had problems with her liver and her kidneys. She was only 28. But to have as advanced of a death that she had, spitting up blood as though she had it like one would need a dialysis machine at the age of like 80 or 50, maybe 68, there's a reason is bad. Now, 1 is the reason that it's been bad for the last 3 to 4 months, but 2 is already here. 2 is already being spoken of as really bad. They call it the stealth version of it, okay? Now you have 3 coming soon. You have 4 coming soon. Those are already in areas around the world. They're coming. But it's 1 and 2 that we have to be concerned about. Now, is the new vaccine available for 2, 3, and 4? I say no. The problem with the vaccine right now is because it got manufactured already, most likely, and it's already been a thing since November, December, and January, which is why they've already been testing it, but it's good against 1. So 2 is one you're not going to want. 3, you're definitely not going to want, and 4, you're definitely not going to want. Hopefully, we have that vaccine by November or December of this year. But we're not ahead of it, people. So, for a DeSantis or governor to say, hey, we're going to adopt this, pretty much we're going to be the state which is going to say, for healthy kids, you don't need the vaccine, we're good with that. I say you're the dumbest man ever. What does your family say when they get coronavirus? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Are you going to be that guy? Family men need to step up. If you think about your children and you think about them in a good way, you're going to want to keep them alive. Now, I'm the first one to say, make sure that the dosage fits the height, weight, and value of the person. Because you do not want to give a full adult dose to a child under 3. Yeah? That's kind of like obvious, yeah? But certain places haven't done that in the past. Some have even under with certain people, including Kaiser. That is news of the last few months. So dosages also matter too. So you want to say or see the pediatrician or the person administering the shot and say, hey, is that the right dosage for my child? Overdosage is a thing for certain families, all right? If you want to have your children go back to school, they are going to be in the area of all other kids, which are going to get all sorts of flus, all sorts of colds, all sorts of anything, because that's what happens when you put kids back to school. Well, we've already had that for the last few months, yeah? So the problem that I foresee happening in the next few years is this. We're going to have more sickness in families due to kids at school. And you're going to see it 100%. Because you have people like Floridians follow the Floridian suit, and I guarantee you other states are going to say the same thing, and that's where we're going to die worse in the next 3 to 4 months. Now, usually, and this is true as of, honestly, 2020 and 2021, we had a lull in the spikes. The lull was anywhere from, I want to say, in 2020, June, July, and August, yeah? At least here on the home front in the U.S. 2021, it was June, July, August, and a little bit of the beginning of September. All right, if you look at the math, you do the numbers, you'll say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. All right, it's always the winter months that it starts surging. This year, we're going to have an odd situation because everything is much colder than it was last year. So I feel the only low months that we're probably going to get are July and August. We're not there yet. We're barely at March. Does that make sense? So what we're going to have in the next 3 to 4 months is a lot of information that's coming at us from all different sources, and we hope that we're on the side of at least this. It's not here. It's not cured. it's not gone. We're still going to have to bury friends and family members that are going to die of this. And we're still going to have to be careful. And we're still going to have to understand these vaccinations, which this article talks about, can still be administered, but you're probably not going to be able to get government to fund them. So just pay it, all right? Just get it. Get ahead of it. That way, you're ahead of November and December of this year. Because I guarantee Florida is going to back it up. Other states are going to back what they're doing. They're going to be like, oh, shoot, what did we do? And they're not going to want to admit it, but they're going to admit it in the numbers. I already said to several people, and I didn't want to say it, but I said it, that 2021 would end up in a really bad way and that we would end up in a bad way by 2022. 1 million plus. All right? We're shy of it by, like, not a lot. I think we're at 950,000 deaths, yeah? So that's the good news. That's a good thing, yeah? But we have OM 3 and 4 coming, which I guarantee you is going to be a problem for all of us. We're not ready for it. I will say, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say this because it puts perspective in your heads. If we have another million by the end of 2022, and we surpass 2 million people due to coronavirus, those are actual dead, not ones that got well from coronavirus, then we have a problem for the next 3 to 4 years. All right? And how we have the problem, if you really want to think of it this way, financials, okay? There is no way we could pay it down with that amount of sickness. The only way to do it is what certain countries have already done, which they have a little surge. They put everybody in a good way, get ahead of it, at least wear face masks. If you're not going to put a lockdown, and I get that because financials are already hurting, at least wear a face mask, yeah? You don't have to mandate it, right? Just have people be aware it's still here. If you want to wear it, great. If you don't, all right. It's the new norm. All right. How many people were upset when you go, and you probably still are, when you go to the airport and you have to like go through all their services to get on board the plane? How many? A lot of us, yeah. But if we remember 9/11, we go, yeah, we don't want that to happen again. Yeah. All right. So it may be a pain in the booty, it may be a pain in the butt, but you'll still do it because you want to be safe for the journey to wherever you're going. Yeah. So we kind of go, all right, it's the new norm, whatever. This is the new norm for the next, I don't know. I've said it before. I said, are you ready for it to be 3 years? I say we're going almost into 4 years with the mentality, but I hope we're ahead of it to be at least 2.5 years minimum. That's what I foresee. Or I said it in 2020. People didn't like to hear it. I said, yeah, but are you ready for it to happen this way? So I was ready for it to go all the way through 2021. I'm ready for it to go all the way through 2022, 2023, and 2024. I feel we'll be all right by 2025. All right? But you have to feel and plan that way. And you have to think it through to say, all right, how do we not get sick? How do we not get to the hospital? How do we not get these things ahead of time? What do we need to do? Is it a little uncomfortable? Yes. Is it always uncomfortable? No. Just go outside, be in the sun, get more sun in you and on you and around you, and do that. All right. The dumbest thing I felt that we did by accident was kind of have people not be in public areas outside with social distancing in mind. Yeah. Like parks and or beaches. I feel that that is not the right way to go. All right. I didn't feel it was the right thing to begin with, but it's like, what are you going to do? Right. But if people wear their face masks and they're away from others, it's not like, you're going to get it being on the outside. It's more indoors that you're going to get it more, which is why certain like family centers and certain places where you're on the inside with certain circulating vents of air conditioning units, don't scrub the air. If you have a AC unit, get a scrubber, okay? Invest in one. A scrubber is basically a UV light which actually kills all the bacteria and it scrubs it. Some are more effective than others. I would say just put it on a payment plan and have it pay for itself because it'll pay for itself. It'll scrub the air. It gets rid of odors. It's a really good thing. They're minimum probably like $1,300, probably to like the more advanced ones of like $2,000, about that much. You add those on to your plan, call up your AC provider and say, hey, can I add that for our family? Because I guarantee you if somebody is sick in a room, it'll recirculate air that is clean than just like toxic air with like, and then that getting transferred from room to room. If you do have to isolate at any given time if one of your members are sick. Okay, and that'll put you ahead of it. That way, maybe your mom or your grandma, doesn't get sick from the rest of you, because that can happen. Okay. So if you put that into your heads, you'll be way ahead. Way ahead. You just have to be smart about it. And then use your mind to say, all right, I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to use my thinking mind in a good way. And I'm going to go ahead and just, hey, worst case scenario, I have to deal with it when I have to deal with it. Yeah. But don't throw all caution to the wind. Okay. It's like getting in bed with a person who has been with every man known to man. You know what I mean? So, some ladies are out there. You men too, right? If a lady's like, wow, that guy's been with a lot of girls, you go, you almost have to think of it that way, all right? Are you going to be the guy that's like, I don't need, to lock it up, you know what I mean? Or a woman that's just like, no, I don't care, whatever. You kind of almost want to go, what's your history with that? And then get tested, right? You both want to know that you're clean and clear there, right? So it's like that, all right? If you think of it like that, I guarantee you'll understand where we're at. Yeah, some people just are those ones that just go, I don't care, and I'm like, yeah, I care if I'm going to spend time with you, right? Because I know they don't put any safety barriers there, right? I know of families that have had family members like that. They go out, they party, they're like, if it's my day to die. Like, well, don't take the rest of us with you, seriously. But you got to be careful there. All right. There is some other news. I'm going to review it a little. I want to say it, but I don't know if I want to say it this way, because I really don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it up. Maybe you can tell me what you think. Florida did do this. Florida's legislature has passed a controversial piece of legislation aimed at restricting schools in the Sunshine State from teaching students about sexual orientation and gender issues, with teachers opening themselves up to lawsuits should they fail to comply. I'm not sure how I feel about that. If they don't, will the parents in place of? And I'm talking about like sex education. Is that what we're getting in the middle of? Because I think sex education, although highly, highly weird in school, I remember it. It was weird. I didn't want to talk about it, but I understood a lot. I did. I think they kind of did it like 60s-ish. They need to revamp it to make it more current, because it's a little old. But let's see. The bill, known as the Parental Rights in Education Bill, states a school district may not encourage classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. All right, I get that. Don't. Who was doing that? They do that? I'd be against that as a parent, not gonna lie. I'd be like, really? I mean, A, the kid's a little too young, and B, just let the kid be a kid. I mean, seriously. It states that parents may bring an action against a school district to obtain a declaratory judgment that a school district procedure or practice violates this paragraph and seek injunctive relief. A court may award damages. Ooh, that's not good for the school system. And shall award reasonable attorney fees and court costs to a parent who receives declaratory or injunctive relief. I do not understand that. I just know it's called money for days for said parents. The bill was passed by Florida's House of Representatives on February 24th and the state Senate on March 8th. Should it be signed into law, its terms would come into effect July 1st, with all school district plans required to be updated by June 2023. Democratic legislators proposed a series of amendments to clarify the bill's intent or to separate its ostensible intent from its impact by striking out language that could target LGBT plus students and their families. They all failed. I don't know what that means, but the amendment proposed requiring schools to disclose whether a child is LGBT plus to their parents within 6 weeks of learning that they are not straight, but it was withdrawn before the bill reached the House. That was a Republican amendment. Requiring schools to disclose whether a child is to their parents. Why would you do that? That's dumb. All right, I don't get that. The bill has attracted widespread criticism in Florida and beyond, with opponents arguing it would effectively silence vulnerable LGBT plus students and hinder or harm their personal development while violating educators' freedom of speech and First Amendment rights. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. Last week, thousands of high school students walked out of class in protest over the bill, A large demonstration was held outside the state capitol building on Sunday. I get where we're at with this. I'm so glad I read the article. All right. I get it now. The bill came up for debate in the Senate on Monday, where Chevrine Jones, the first openly LGBT plus member of Florida's Republican-dominated state, made an emotional appeal for proponents of the bill to shoot it down because it could forcibly out LGBT plus students and have a chilling effect on LGBT plus people and issues in Florida schools. I get that. Let the kid be a kid. They're getting it. Whatever. Right? Yeah. Let's see. Seeing these kids, I don't think y'all understand how much courage it takes to show up every day, Mr. Jones said, reflecting on his father's disappointment and the insults hurled at him before he publicly came out. Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's called bully, huh? I get that. The bill's originator, Republican State Representative Joe Harding, insists its intention is simply to keep parents in the know and involved in what's going on. If you really wanted them to know what's going on, you could talk about weed. You don't. You love it. You know you do. With their children's education, and that its critics are absolutely misinformed on what exactly the bill does. No, pretty much read it word for word. Doesn't do anything good. One outspoken supporter of his proposal is the Trump-aligned state governor and possible 2024 Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. I guarantee you, Ron, if you get elected, I'm going to say, what the what? Speaking at a press conference last month, Governor DeSantis said, "My goal is to educate kids on the subjects, math, reading, science, all the things that are so important." That's a good statement. It's true. "I don't want the schools to kind of be a playground for ideological disputes." I'll go with that. Yay, you won my niceness on this. The governor claims that the bill addresses sexual stuff and telling kids they may be able to pick genders and all that. Why would you tell a kid that they may be able to? They have their own mind. What are you doing out the Taurian state? They have their own opinion on that. Let them be a opinion one. Yeah? He said during a press conference last week, how many parents want their kindergartners to have transgenderism or something injected into classroom discussion? Not going to lie, I'd be against it for my own child, for my own reasons. But I think it's too young to talk about it anyway. Pretty sure it's a thing that you talk about at home or with the kids on the way to school or with their friends. Right? Yeah. Everybody has their opinion on that. On Monday, he lashed out at a reporter who asked whether he supports the bill, claiming that it would only impact students in kindergarten through third grade. Why are we going all the way to third grade? That's like a discussion like 8th to 12th grade. Because at that age, they're not even like... I remember being in kindergarten, I had a crush on a girl. I don't think anything more of that. I don't really need to know. Yeah? You get it by 8th grade. Then you kind of know. You know? I don't get this. The bill is not limited to those grades. Classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity would be prohibited at all grade levels if it is not deemed age appropriate. Well, I would go with that. 8th to 12th. Called sex ed. Doesn't matter what way you go, right? It matters on what you do with it. Yeah? I mean, pregnancy still abound. In some, maybe not others. And then, you got the other situation when it comes to diseases. Man, you need to educate them about that. Because guaranteed, man, they're going to do what they do. They got those hormones flying, usually by 13, 14, 15, and 16. Yeah, those are age appropriate. Kids are kids, man. Teach them the colors. Shoot. Don't make it so complicated. Ugh. The governor said, "We're going to make sure that parents are able to send their children to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into the curriculum." Well, I don't feel it should have been injected into the curriculum. Who allowed that dumb stuff to happen? Am I wrong on this? Equality Florida has condemned Mr. DeSantis' endorsement, arguing in a tweet that he is using anti-LGBTQ legislation as a springboard to serve his national political ambitions. The group added, his political agenda is driven not by the real pressing needs of our state, but his desire to peel away Trump supporters as the two jockey for the 2024 GOP presidential primary. He's willing to inflict harm on the most vulnerable in Florida in order to shore up his extremist base. U.S. President Joe Biden tweeted reassurances to students in February, telling them, I want every member of the LGBTQI plus community, especially the kids who will be impacted by this hateful bill, to know that you are loved and accepted just as you are. I have your back, and my administration will continue to fight for the protection and safety you deserve. I don't understand this. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki denounced the legislation. She said, every parent hopes that our leaders will ensure their children's safety, protection, and freedom. Today, conservative politicians in Florida rejected those basic values by advancing legislation that is designed to target and attack the kids who need support the most. LGBTQI plus students who are already vulnerable to bullying and violence just for being themselves. I agree with that, 100%. Let the kids be kids, all right? Don't sway in either direction. It's not you. It's not... How do I say it this way? It's not your job to sway them in any direction. You're supposed to help educate them, at the very least, about what complications might happen if certain things happen down the line. You know, I know it was a huge thing, and I know because it happened in our school, handing out condoms. Remember when that was a really big thing? Yeah. But teen pregnancies were on the rise, with or without it. And parents were not speaking to the kids about what would happen. They kept that discussion away from them. Now, I would say this. If you want to put something good in about sex ed early on, do it about predators. Do it about uncles. Yeah? Do it about the predators at home. Yeah? Bullying at home, right? Report that, right? Do that. That makes more sense than this stuff, right? Focus on the ones who rape and or hurt their own kids. Yeah? That is probably smarter than this. Yeah? I mean, it's all right to speak up. It's all right to say something. It's all right to tell an authority. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah? Because that happens, all right? And you'll find that out, especially with the shy kids. Yeah? And then you go that route, you'll be fine. Yeah? You don't have to sway them in any direction. They're going to go in the direction that they do eventually, right? It's a thing. Let's see. U.S. Transport Secretary Pete Buttigieg, meanwhile, warned that the bill could inspire a spike in teen suicides. Not going to lie, he's actually smart about that. He's right. You can't have someone be... Let's put it this way. When a girl or a guy feel a certain way, they should not be made to suffer when they just are not knowing what they want. Yeah. They'll figure it out. Let them figure it out. Yeah. Don't be that one to have it harder than it already is. But again, that comes usually at 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Yeah. Kara Gross, the legislative director and senior policy counsel of the American Civil Liberties Union of Florida, argued it is always appropriate for kids to talk about themselves and experiences in their families. These are not taboo subjects, but banning them makes them so. Have a family discussion. Very simple. The bill does nothing to help and support our youth. It's meant to stigmatize LGBTQ youth and family members and to make teachers fearful of providing a welcoming and inclusive classroom. How so? I mean, you have the kids kind of assigned per room. I think you're making a big deal of nothing, especially kindergartners. Speaking on ABC's The View, CNN commentator Ana Navarro said the message it sends is a very chilling one for the LGBT plus community. You are not welcome here. I get it. By reporting to the parents of what your child decides to do with that. Again, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Kids at all ages have crushes. Trust me. It's a thing. Okay? Once they have kids, when you have kids having kids, that's the thing you got to be ahead of. Yeah? Yeah. Let's see. 2021 report from LGBT plus suicide prevention and crises intervention group, the Trevor Project, found that LGBT plus youth are 4 times more likely to consider plan or attempt suicide than their peers. Yeah. Well, I remember I had a few friends that had problems with that in high school. And I understood really quickly. What not to say. I might have gone my way with all girls, but you know, I understood. I got it. I go, all right, I get it. While LGBT plus young people between the ages of 13 and 24 attempt to kill themselves every 4 or 5 seconds within the U.S. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's a thing. That's why I say be aware of it. The more priority is keeping your kid alive. Yeah. Now, you may have, beliefs. You may have views. You may have viewpoints. But I say this. Better to have a kid alive than have your viewpoint kill them in the end. Don't do that. All right? Your kids are kids. Period, end of story. Whatever they end up doing with their life, whatever you may want for them, it may not be what they want in the end. You just got to be there for them. You just got to want to say, hey, I want to see you when I'm old and gray. Hopefully I'll be here long enough. And if I'm not, I want you to know you are an adult. You are going to do your own decisions in the end. You have to live with your decisions. I just hope you choose better decisions than I did. Some of us didn't choose well and others did. And we hope we don't pass that along to the kids, right? Yeah, that's what every parent wants for their kids, yeah? So do that. Focus on that. This whole thing with the kids, the kindergarten, howdy them to the parent. Let the kids come up with that, all right? They'll figure it out, or they won't. Let them, it's a thing. Usually, if you're a good parent, you already know. You already get it. You're like, yeah, and so what? So have that discussion at home. Yeah? Yeah. School's supposed to be a good place to be and open and, focus more on education of, hey, don't let a family member touch you in a way that you should not want to be touched. Period of the story. Let's go with that. This stuff is just like, all right, whatever. So there you go. All right, I get the headline. The headline is this. I'm glad I read it. Seriously, I would not have known by what is Florida's Don't Say Gay bill? Now I'm starting to understand it. All right. So have a perspective of keep the children, honestly, learning. Yeah. Don't add stuff to them to have them go, what do I do next? It doesn't make sense. Be there for them. It's a confusing time. It's a confusing thing just to go through a breakup. Yeah. I went through a breakup at the age of 12 and a half. I did not let my parents know. It was the worst thing ever. I didn't want them to know. And it was, I'm not going to lie, it still hurts me today. It still hurts me. Because I think about it. It was like a childhood thing that I never told my parents. But nothing ever happened. But, it was a thing that really, you look, as an adult, you have love and you have love lost. Yeah? As a kid, you have love and you have love lost. Right? But you never, as a parent, diminish what a human feels at any given time. Some people end up marrying their childhood love. Yeah, that happens. Some people end up meeting their childhood love later. I've met 3 couples that way that actually did that. And I was like, good to know. And they went through their marriages and then they came back in the center of it all and they found eye to eye. And it's almost like, if they would have just erased it all, which they can't, obviously, especially if there are kids involved. But if they understand, there's a reason sometimes childhood love lasts longer than others. Sometimes you just never know. It's an innocence of the time, yeah. But again, you have to be aware that there are going to be things that are going to happen without your control, and then you got to roll those punches, yeah. So the better educated that your children are about certain things, of hey, don't want you to get a disease at the age of 13, known as AIDS, HIV, yeah. There are things that may happen down the line if you do this or that. That's why I'm all for proper, good education about diseases. All right, even if you don't say sex ed, right? Because I would always go, oh god, we got to talk about that. But just diseases, yeah. I was very much happy when I learned what gonorrhea was, what syphilis was, and what other ones were. But I'll guarantee you this: my parents were honestly open about it very early on, and that's because their faith made it open to be, hey, let's talk about the obvious things that may happen in the end, yeah. So straight or other, you're still going to have these diseases come up every now and then. Yeah, so you want to be safe about it. Back to what I said earlier about there were a lot of parents against condoms. I'm not going to lie, I never got a condom at the school. But others did, I knew it. And others would hold on to it just in case. And then some got it for their parents, you know what I mean? I remember having a discussion with a young girl, and she was like, yeah, my parents do this. And I was like, why would parents do that? I was dumb like that, all right? I didn't understand birth control, right? I was like, well, they're, adults. Why would they, you have that? She's like, I don't know, when I found these. I'm like, all right, I understand. But my point is this, all right? Adults have like if you have that moment when you were a teen or a kid, depending on what generation you grew up, you've had those discussions, and although they're odd, they're ones that you go, all right, at least we're smart now. But you think about the kids of today, they are highly impacted by social media and other things that they see on a daily basis. So I guarantee if your kid is on Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook, they've already seen more than you know. All right? Snapchat and all these other devices, TikTok and all these highly sexualized, highly sex. Yeah? So it's good to be aware of it, good to kind of see it, and just not jump down on them. Just educate them slowly, surely. Hey, back in my day, this, that, and the other. Have always an open communication forum that says, hey, no matter what, you're my child. I love you one way or the other. It does not matter. I hope you never kill someone, but if you did, I'm probably going to ask you why you killed them, right? Were you defending yourself? Were you taking out a murderer? What was the situation? Don't be that guy to go rob people, right? Yeah, so that's what we don't want. All right, so that's my point. I just want to know that all of us are going to stay alive, that we're going to be good with each other, that we're going to help heal each other, that we're going to be aware of the bigger things that are happening right now. And it's called Let's Keep Our Children Alive. Yeah? Let's do that. All right? We do that. We're ahead of everything. All right, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Bye-bye, everyone.